Welcome to Solutions with Courtney Anderson. I am Courtney Anderson. I want to let you know how much I appreciate you joining me today, and I want to encourage you to stop by CourtneyAnderson.com and participate. Sign up for our newsletter. Tell me what you think about a show. Reach out. Join in with the community. So here we are, and we have a show today that is one of the Help! Situation Spotlight series shows. And of course, this is our entire series that you, community members, create. You share with me ideas, concerns, potential problems, challenges, and I try to come up with some potential solution sets for us to work through in shows. So thank you for creating these shows. So the show today specifically is Something Awesome Happened in My Life, but no one else is happy for me. Something awesome happened in my life, but no one else is happy for me. So, this is one of the things that at first it may look like it's not even really a challenge because many people would say, and in fact, when we talk about these types of topics and programs and speeches and professional development programs, I have people who have said along the lines of, what's the deal? Really? Something awesome happened. So now, what do you want, a medal? People are going to complain because they got lucky or whatever, and something great happened, and now they want everybody else to sit around and tell them how great it is that something great happened for them. I mean, really? Okay. So I want to address that issue here at the beginning of this episode because, like I said, over the last 14, 15 years, I have had instances where we've talked about issues like this, and that's been the reaction. People have said very vocally, which is always appreciated because then I understand what I need to do to try to address that. How's this a problem, right? Too much good news in somebody's life and they want a medal, they want congratulations, they want a pat on the back, they want something extra when they already got the good thing. And isn't that enough? Okay. There is something to be said about healthy satisfaction and contentment. There are people that do have a personality and behavioral pattern where no matter what happens, they're miserable. And they just create and carry and spread misery everywhere. And if they win the lottery, they're miserable. If they have the best health any doctor's ever seen, they're still miserable. If someone is the most devoted, loving, wonderful person for them and their lives, they're still miserable. If their children, win the Olympics and are president, they're still miserable. There's nothing that somebody like this will ever do other than just be miserable and spread the misery and the pain, and that's kind of their motivation. That's not who we're talking about, though, in this show. I'm not talking about someone like that because usually those types of people who are misery spreaders, they don't even usually acknowledge that anything awesome happened. They're the kind of person that if their child did win the gold medal in the Olympics, they'll turn around and say something like, well, you're screwed now. What are you going to do in the next one? Everybody's going to expect, you can repeat this. I'd hate to be you. Or their child becomes, president of a country in an election, and then that person would say to their child, yeah, well, you didn't get as many votes as I thought you would, right? So those types of people who really are motivated and driven by misery and pain and spreading it, and that's all they do, they usually shortcut and never even acknowledge anything awesome happened. And they certainly aren't acknowledging anything in a enthusiastic and passionate and positive way because that's the antithesis of everything they stand for. I mean, they stand for gloom and doom and misery and failure. And they will turn anything, and I do mean anything, into failure. But they would never say something awesome happened. They would never say something awesome happened in my life because they don't believe anything awesome ever happened in their lives because all they are is talking about misery and pain. That is not who this program is addressing. So I am going to move that discussion of, well, yeah, you just can't please some people, right? I'm not disagreeing. There are people who we cannot please. We've done many other shows and programs, and I've written about this, and we teach conflict resolution with this. I mean, it's a very serious and real issue. But they are not the population that this program would address because, again, they would never ever acknowledge, certainly publicly and never with any real genuine enthusiasm, something awesome happened in my life. They're not going to ever say that because in their mind, nothing awesome ever happened. Because whatever it was that other people might say was really amazingly great, they're going to have a complaint about. So that's not our group because they would never express the first part of our show title. So our group is a group of people who are not just misery carriers, right? They're not just sort of laden with that disease of misery and pain and running around spreading it everywhere. That group is, we talk about in many of the programs, but not here because they wouldn't have never have had the show topic expressed as it is because it just never would have crossed their mind that there was something that was awesome that happened in their life. They just don't believe that. That's why they're so quick. I mean, literally, and I've shared in other programs and will continue to. I've seen so many examples of the misery-laden carrier, how they can turn something that honestly you couldn't even imagine something bad. Literally, like, I won the gold medal in the Olympics, look at me, woo! And then they could just destroy people. Well, it was slower than the people who won it last time. I mean, I've seen this, I've experienced it. They're a very different and powerful force in many people's world that we have to address in our business and in our entire life to make sure that we don't have them infect us with that misery and pain, and we can make good choices. Leaving them aside because they're not in our topic. What about our group? Our group, the community members who shared this, who made this our show today, who said, look, something awesome happened in my life. Woohoo! I got a promotion. Maybe I resign and I'm so happy because I'm going to an awesome place. Maybe I'm retiring. Maybe I won the lottery. Maybe I'm marrying a king and moving to another part of the world. Maybe I won the Nobel Prize. It's awesome. It's unbelievably awesome. It could be I gave birth to a healthy child. Woo! Something awesome. It could be, my health. I took control of my nutrition and my exercise and really made that a focus of my life. And I've turned around my health, and I just got the results, and my doctor says that my health is, the best it's ever been in all these years that I've been treated, and I feel so good. Woo! My health. Woo! I found someone to be my business partner who's amazing, and we have investors who've invested in our company. Woo! Okay, I don't care what it is. It could be, my cat had kittens. Woo! Okay, it can be minor. Anything that happens in our lives, someone else, and that this is again part of the beauty of the world, right? It literally could be something amazing, right, in your world. And then other people might say, that's kind of minor, I really don't know what it is. And you might scoff and say, well, that's not true. If somebody won the gold medal in the Olympics. But honestly, would you know every gold medal winner of all of the sports, summer and winter? There's some sports that people even sort of dismiss and make fun of while the Olympics are on, right? Is that really a sport? I guess it is. It's in the thing, right? But, if it's an event during the Olympics, whether or not other people think it's a, quote, real sport, I don't care. There are things that you could do in your life that you would think, golly, everybody would know how awesome that is. But I can guarantee you there's somebody else who doesn't have the context or the same experience or the same expectations where they really wouldn't get it. So whatever it is in your world that's happened that's awesome, somebody somewhere would be like, minor. Right? So the person's like, wow, I had a healthy child. Woo, I'm so excited. Somebody else somewhere would be like, I have 15 kids. I don't really understand what's the big deal? Like, who cares? Whatever it is in your world, somebody else could label it as minor. Somebody else could label it as major and awesome. And you get to pick what you want to label it as. So the first part of this analysis is something awesome happened in your life. Congratulations! Congratulations! Woo! Congratulations! Woo! Yes! Something awesome has happened. Okay, that's kind of when I feel my own version of something awesome. Whether it was something with one of my pets or whether it was something, I don't know, whatever. In my world, I do a little celebration. I just gave you an example of what it is. There's a little dance I do that goes along with that. Thank goodness this isn't one of our video podcasts, television shows, because then you would have had to see it. So what I'm saying is express it. Celebrate your success or this wonderful thing that's happened or what good fortune or how beautiful. I mean, just celebrate it. And again, whatever your personality is, right? So maybe you're like, woohoo! Yeah! Maybe you're like, ooh, yeah. I don't care what expression, volume, or level or mannerism that you use, but I want you to take the time. In fact, if you're a part of the show right now, and part of the reason you joined the show is you thought, oh, okay, that topic, oh, that's happened to me. I've had things happen that are totally awesome. No one else was happy for me. If you're here for that reason, then whatever it is that has happened to you, let's take this, the first part of this show topic. So the first part is something awesome happened. The second part that we're going to deal with later is, but no one else is happy for me. That's the second part. The first part, though, something awesome happened, then if you're listening and you're thinking, yeah, it's, I'm reflecting, that awesome thing happened. I graduated. I was able to recover and rehab from my car accident. I have the best, pet horse ever. Like, I don't care what it is. Sit right now and just remember it. And go to that place when that awesome thing, that feeling, when you found out, when you realized, when you understood that awesome thing actually, yeah, that did happen. And feel how good that feels. Sometimes it's like when you go sometimes on a great day and you stand and the sun is there. What I do a lot is I close my eyes and I just feel it, right? I just feel that sun. Woo! Oh, yeah. Celebrating. Yes, it's a celebration. All right. What I want you to do is don't deny, diminish, repress the good feelings. Feel it. And in fact, one of the things that we ought to be doing in life, and some of the things we talk about in our other programs, is taking those things that happen in our life that are awesome, that are good, that are better than we expected, right? Even for our cynics, they're just like, well, I thought it would be much worse. Okay, well, then we'll label that awesome in some people's world. Whatever your viewpoint and personality is, you need to hold on to the memory of that really good moment. When you found out, or when it was realized, or when you accomplished that, or when it was finished, or when it started, or whatever, you need to hold on to that because you're going to need it. You're going to need it in life, emotionally, mentally, to draw on when you run into really negative things in life and you have to reach deep inside and pull out the good feelings to sort of recharge and replenish, calm yourself, give yourself the strength and the energy and the control and self-discipline to be able to respond to something that might not be happening at another moment in your life that is not awesome. So you should hold on. And when I say hold on, I mean, I want you to, again, like I said, even I'm indoors, right, recording right now. I'm not outside, but what I do is mentally, I think about when I go and I stand in that sun. And it's just when I close my eyes and I'm warm and it feels good, or it could be whatever your version is. But just that, or if I'm thirsty sometimes and I just have a really good glass of water, I just, I feel good, right? It's just that good feeling. So it doesn't have to be, and that could be the awesome thing that happened in your life. And people, that wouldn't be awesome if I could stand in the sun, drink some water. Well, maybe somebody who was, kidnapped, or someone who was in prison, or somebody who had had something horrible happen. Yeah, the sun on your face is a big deal. Drinking a good glass, or cup or handful of clean, refreshing water is a big deal. And also, for people who don't have access to appropriate amounts of hydration, it's a life and death thing. So don't diminish it, right? I just said a few minutes ago, anything you tell me that has happened to you may be a really big deal to you and your industry, to what you do. And there's other people I could find who aren't, ignorant people, but just don't know. These things aren't all universal. Not everybody follows every industry, every accolade, every accomplishment, every culture. It's just impossible. So whatever your version is, go to that place mentally and hold on to it because you're going to need it. The first thing I'm begging you to do is to sit now and remember that really awesome thing happened, and do not at all go anywhere else. Don't go to, yeah, something awesome happened, but I wish I hadn't been wearing that outfit, or, but I wish it had happened at a different time, or I wish that my great grandfather had been alive to see it, or yeah, but then later, it didn't work out. Don't do any of that to diminish the awesome feeling. You need to have these memories, these experiences, right? Almost like we're method actors that you can pull on to remember what it felt like to be a little surprised with how good something turned out, right? You need that. And so don't cut it off. Don't truncate it. Don't come in and pour, dirt all over it and tell me what happened in the future. And if only I had known then what was going to happen in the future, I never would have thought that was awesome. Oh, please stop. I want you to feel the good feeling. You got the call for the job. You had a beautiful wedding. You brought home your new adopted son. Just go to that part. I don't want you to go down and tell me then the rest of it. And here's the thing, no matter what you tell me is, quote, the rest of it, you don't know what's going to happen next. So you're always in the middle of the story. That's life until we get to the total end, at which point, hopefully, if you have enough good fortune where maybe someone can say to you, oh, you have a condition or there's something happening and you have X amount of time left. That happens to people, but it doesn't happen to everybody. So until we get to that part, when it really is literally our last couple of minutes or hours, the rest of our lives, it's all in process. So if you say to me, oh, something awesome happened, woo! Oh, I wish I'd never gotten that job. In hindsight, if I'd known what it was going to be like when I went to that company, and don't do all of that because you don't know what's going to happen next, and you don't know how what happened in the past could be part of something great in the future because you're just still in the middle of the story. So stop taking away the awesomeness. You have to have places and memories and experiences where you can visualize it, you can taste it, you can smell it, you can touch it, you can feel it. Like I said, I dance around, I make my horrible attempts at making noise that in my mind is something, at least in my own way, I'm making noise. I'm singing. Now I don't sing well, it's not something but I do enjoy it. It's like dancing. I don't dance well. I never would have been a professional dancer for a billion reasons. But I love moving, so I do it. I don't care. Meaning I don't care the judgment that someone would have. And what I'm saying is I don't care about whatever you're going to tell me that's a negative or that diminished what you thought was awesome, or that you don't even know what's going to happen because this awesome thing happened like 20 minutes ago and you're not really sure how it's going to turn out. Just sit with the good thing. Just sit with the good thing. That's what I'm saying. Feel it like you feel, good weather and clean air, and feel it like you feel a good glass of water when you're thirsty, and just feel it and feel that good feeling, because you again will need to remember it, and you'll need to be able to draw on that reservoir of something awesome and the feeling you had that it was awesome. Because remember, you defined this, right? I'm not going back into the detail at the beginning of the episode, but we talked about there are people who define everything as miserable, and they're very good at that. There are people who are not like that, like you, and you decided that something, you defined it as something awesome. I don't care if it lasted for 30 seconds or less. For that moment or that year or that however long, you felt like it was awesome. You labeled it that, and you were enthusiastic and you were excited, and that's the good thing you need to hold on to, because that's what we will need, again, to draw from. The second part of this show topic is, but no one else is happy for me. Okay. Yeah, this does tend to take us to that place of, as I said earlier, when I'll talk about issues like this in a speech, and someone in the audience will say, what do people want, a medal? Okay, well, sometimes they actually got a medal, right? Maybe they won some sort of sporting event where they actually did get a medal, or they won the Olympic event, they got a medal, so they have one. Okay, but some people say, what do you want, a parade? Some people do get parades. They were part of some great victory and they came somewhere and people threw a parade for them. All right. So that sarcasm is, I understand where it's coming from. And this is the big picture dynamic that we need to look at to, quote, deal with this help situation spotlight show. The first part of this scenario, you don't really need any help other than my suggestion strongly that you sit in with the good feeling. You sit with the good feeling. Don't and cut yourself off and you start trying to mentally go to, well, then what happened horrible, 2 years later, or if it just happened to you, you start projecting anxiety and fear into the future. Well, what will happen if I get the job and I show up and they see that I'm not as smart as they thought I was and all this kind of stuff? Stop! The only thing I want you to do is just feel the good feeling. The second part of this is when you start saying, well, no one else is happy for me. First of all, are you being accurate? What do I mean by that? I want you to sit down on your phone or tablet or whatever it's handy or a piece of paper or something and write down how many people actually did express or you think would express if you told them some level of happiness for you. I don't care if it's your great uncle who you only see once every 15 years. I don't care if it's that one lady that you knew from, school that you really don't like, but she always seems so positive. I don't care if it's the kind of weird, super friendly neighbor who's always so positive. Is there anybody at all that you could put down on a list that would actually be, quote, happy for you? Most of us, when we stop at this point, realize, yeah, there's probably somebody. Now, here's where people get very indulgent. People will say, yeah, but, maybe my great uncle, if I were to call him or whatever, or go by and see him, he would say that was good. But, what does he know? He's older, but I wish I had, the perfect spouse. I wish I had, the perfect parent. I wish I had the perfect sibling. I wish I had the perfect best friend. I wish I had, okay, see where we're going? When we start going down the path of look at all the things I don't have, we will never win. We will never win because, we could sit here forever, right? And talk about all the things that you don't have, and we'd never stop talking. Right? Some people would say, "Oh, I have a lot of, success in my career, but my family problems are stressful." Some people would say, oh, my family is so successful and, but what about my work and my career, my volunteer work? Some people, it's like, even if some people would say, oh, well, yeah, my health is fine and my work is fine and my family's fine, but, I could have been so much more. When I was little, I wanted to be, an astronaut, and now look at me. Okay, look. So it could be some specific part of your life. It could be some dream that you feel like you could have had or should have had or did have. It could be that, I've had people literally say stuff, like, oh, yeah, my life's okay, but if only I were a little taller or a little bit smaller or a little bit. I mean, really? And that's why I said you can play that forever. And it's such a, and ultimately, unless it's just some people, I guess, maybe it could be relaxing. Most people, they're doing it to elicit a bad outcome, to throw a pity party for themselves and to get into the space where no matter what is happening in their life, they're going to sit around and focus on, quote, what they don't have. No one has everything. I don't even know if if that concept actually could exist. Because if you had all the matter, that's not even like possible. And it's such an unhealthy thing. And it's a lot of what drives this sort of self-destructive, self-sabotaging, really poor quality of life that people have. The first question I would ask is there anyone at all in your life that would be happy for you? If you tell me you said and you thought about it and the reality is there isn't anybody, right? You tell me, hey, I don't, my family, all my family's dead. I don't have any family that's alive. I'm new to the town I live in. I don't have any friends. I don't know anybody. There's no one I could call or text or Skype or anything that would care. Okay, I'm not going to disagree because for a lot of people, that's true. They really don't have anybody. I'm going to ask this, though. Is there anyone else? Is there any other human? Since your relatives, that's a no-go. You don't have any friends where you are. Your friends where you used to live, something horrible happened, and you can't, contact them, or maybe they don't have the ability to be reached. Or maybe you don't have any friends from before and you just really are all alone. Nobody in your life at all, and any of the things you do is going to care or say anything positive. Okay, that may be. And, like I said, we all are victims of our own experience to a large degree because it limits so much of our thinking. I talked to somebody who's like, oh, yeah, my health's fine, but I have other problems. And it's like, yeah, you don't have to think about what happens to people who can't say that my health is fine, and the very serious impact it has on your life when your health's not fine. For somebody who says, well, my work's fine. I'm fine with my work, but what about these other things? Well, you don't have to think about what it's like for people who don't have that, people who are out of work, or people who are, in dire circumstances. It's like that for any of this stuff, though. So when I say be realistic, put it down on a list. Is there really nobody at all? Now, I didn't say that it's the person that you wish you could call. The person that you wish would call you. Maybe they are deceased. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're incarcerated. Maybe they're ill. Maybe it's someone that you were friends with, or that you were in a relationship with romantically, and now you wish you could call them, but you can't. Or if you did, but you really don't know how to. You don't know how to contact them, or they blocked you, or whatever. So don't sit here and say there's no one. And then I said, okay, maybe there is no one. And then I said, is there any other human? And then, of course, you know where I'm going with this, right? Is there any other human that could be aware of this awesome thing that happened that you could tell or share or think about it? And then they would be happy for you. There's nobody else. And then the answer, of course, is, well, of course, there's you. You're a human. You count. Are you happy for yourself? Are you? Are you happy for yourself? And many times when I ask people this, especially, directly in person, looking them in the eye, and they'll say, well, yeah, but, and I don't even let them continue because, here's the deal. Are you no one, or are you someone? And people say, I'm someone, but I'm me, I'm myself. I'm going to need somebody else to care. I need somebody else to be happy for me. I'm talking about, my life. Okay, look, you are not no one. You are at least some kind of entity of a human. You're alive, you're someone. So why don't you start there and have at least one person you could put down on your list that is genuinely happy for you? Of course, if many of the type of feedback, follow-up questions and concerns people have is, well, what does that matter? What does it matter? It's me by myself. If a tree falls in the forest, nobody hears it, It's like that. It's like this has happened, but nobody hears it. Nobody cares. It's just me. Okay, look. Just you is still you. It's something. Start with that. Start with one person who is happy for you, genuinely happy for you, who isn't sabotaging you, who isn't there like, oh, yeah, but you could have done it better. I thought, you could have had more votes. You could have been faster. You could have, you know what? Why don't you just celebrate that you don't have that miserable, pain spreading person in your life, and start with that, because the absence of somebody to negate your happiness is actually a positive, right? And you add yourself being a positive on top of that. That's like two positives right there to start with. Sometimes when people get really angry about this stuff, I'll say, think in your mind, was there anybody in your past? Was there ever a moment in your life where there was anybody who was ever happy for you? Yeah, I had a friend at one time. I was like 7 years old. Okay, well then let's think about that. Imagine that person. I don't care if they're alive or dead. I don't care if you don't know where they are. But you did have an instant where you believe somebody else is happy for you. So imagine in your mind that same version of what you think that person it was, or you remember it, and then do a mental thing where now that person's happy for you. And it may be, like I said, someone that you knew in the past. It could be someone that's passed away. It could be someone that's, for whatever reason, out of your life. Let's just do that. See, I'm adding up all kinds of things. I'm adding up the fact that we're adding the absence of people who are there to spread misery and pain and destroy you emotionally and psychologically, which is a positive. I'm adding the positive of you being a someone and you happy for you. So there we go. I'm adding if there was any other experience in your life that you can recall or that you remember, or anyone else was ever happy, and then just sort of in your mind think, oh, okay, well, okay, yeah, they would have to be happy for me. Based on what you know, sure, that's possible, probable, more probable than not. And then there's a lot of things we can do to move forward. Okay, when you say no one else is happy for you, is it that you're lonely and isolated? Because then those are things we need to work on, right? We're having bad outcomes. Now, lots of people like to be alone. A lot of people need quiet time, me time, private time. So that's not the same. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. Okay? But if somebody says I'm lonely, then that's usually a negative. It means I want to be with someone, but I don't have that. So I need to work on that. How do you work on that? Well, that's a whole, we do other programs, resources to talk about how can you begin then to reach out and broaden your exposure to people so that you can begin to potentially have more people in your life who you would be able maybe to have someone who would be happy for you. And we work through that. And I've shared in other programs. I'll share again right now. I'm a very shy person. I'm a very introverted person. So it's not easy for me. And that's one of the reasons, that we do the programs and that I get so, I was going to say I get so passionate, but I probably seem like I'm incredibly passionate about everything, which I am, right? I'm interested in it, but I've vested interest, personally in some of the things we talk about. So I'm starting with this. You're not alone. You have you. If you're lonely, that's something different. You don't have no one who is happy for you. You have at least you. That's at least one person's happy for you. The other part of the equation is how do you treat people? Sometimes there are people who say to me, oh, well, I have my spouse and my kids and my siblings and my parents, but oh, I can't stand them. And they're just, ugh, yuck. They're always jealous. They're just haters. They're just jealous. They hate everything I do. They wish they were me. Okay. Sometimes people go in these narratives and I begin to understand we have a different type of problem. If you feel like no one else is happy for you, but you're surrounded by people and you can't even have a coherent argument that they don't care because they treat you well, they pay attention to you, they talk to you, they ask you how your day is, and then you're still telling me that no one cares, what I begin to realize is it's not that at all. Is that you have a lot of ego issues, you have potentially some narcissism problems, and you don't treat people well. In other words, to have a friend, you have to be a friend. To have a friend, you have to be a friend. So when people start telling me, oh, my spouse and my kids and my parents and my siblings and my coworkers and my team members, and okay, instead of me listening to someone go on and on about how all these people are so horrible to them and none of them are happy for them, I'd ask, to have a friend, you have to be a friend. I ask, when's the last time you expressed how happy you were for them for something? Tell me how good of a friend you are to them and give me 3 examples recently of what you did that you believe constituted high quality friendship. And usually with people like this, they can't do it. Because the reality is that they're not a friend. Sometimes they're just people whose ego and insecurity and unmet needs for attention are so intense that it drains everybody else. And people are there constantly telling them, we're proud of you. You did a great job. And they're still like, oh, it wasn't enough. You weren't happy enough. That's a whole different type of narcissism. That actually is just a different flavor of that misery and pain person. So some misery and pain people are just, some people are boisterous about it and maybe use vulgar language. Some people who spread misery and pain do it with just this sort of pity party, I'm a martyr. Ugh. Nobody's really happy for me. It's like we just throw you a surprise party. What are you talking about? There's 50 people here. They came and told you how great you were. Ugh. I thought it would have been better than this. I thought we would have had it at a fancy hotel. I can't believe this is all you guys did. Now you have somebody, again, who's a misery and pain person, who's going to do everything they can to destroy other people emotionally. They don't treat people with respect and kindness. So, yeah, the reality is that people, as time goes on, everybody has a limit of how much they can put up with someone who doesn't treat them with respect. Again, to have a friend, you have to be a friend. So when you tell me that no one's happy for you, it may be an issue where really you don't have enough numbers. You don't have exposure to enough people, right? Maybe people died. Maybe you never had people that were in your life. And now it's time to get that. That's a numbers situation. We can fix that. And like I said earlier, we have other programs we talk about that. How do you do that? How do you increase the numbers of people that you're exposed to so you can find people, bring them to your daily life, and that they'll be happy for you, and that's a numbers situation. Sometimes it really is, where you might only have one person who's happy for you, and it might only be you. That may be the only person that you really interact with. Fine. You may have a situation where you have other people, and maybe there are a few people, but most of the people are very mean to you. So, they're not happy you got a job, and all they're going to do is start yelling and screaming or saying snide comments about their own financial situation or their own job situation. You can't fix that. There are many people who will project their own unmet needs and their own frustration and their own pain onto you. And if you come around telling people something good and they're just dedicated to misery, those two things don't match. You're not going to get a good outcome because you are trying to get somebody to, quote, be happy for you, but they're not happy at all. When I talk to people about this, I say the person or the people you're so stressed out and mad about, they're not happy for you. Tell me the last 3 things that they were genuinely happy about that you really observed and are able to verify. And the answer usually is that that doesn't happen. The person who's not happy is not happy for you. So, yeah, no, they're not going to sit around and tell you how happy they are because they're not happy. So they're not going to be happy for you. The person who is happy is going to probably more likely than not happy for you. That's why when I mentioned in the show earlier, I said maybe it's just that one kind of super, so nice, neighbor, or that really friendly, nice person who's always saying nice stuff. People tend to discount those people and say, well, they're always nice. And what does that mean? That's like a bad thing, really? So it means less because they're nice often or all the time that you've witnessed? I mean, really? You want the person who goes around mean and angry all the time to turn around and tell you how happy they are. It's not even logical. They're not happy for themselves. Then there's no way they're going to be able to sort of extrapolate that out and be happy for you and share it with you. Even if they're secretly happy for you, they're not going to tell you. And you have a lot of people, of course, where anything that, again, that game of all the things that you don't have that you can never win. If you tell somebody about something in your life that you feel is awesome, that you're excited about, you're going to trigger in all of the people who have not come to a healthy place with how they see themselves in their lives. I don't care. Again, it could be anything. It could be like, oh, you're not going to believe what happened. I found a coupon I didn't even know, was in my bag. And at the store, I had a really good discount. I saved money. It could be something relatively minor or something huge. Oh, I just found, the most wonderful job and it's fantastic and it's more than I ever anticipated and I'm so excited. Whatever it is, if somebody is in that mindset of what about all the things I don't have? If you tell them anything that you quote have or felt or experienced and it was positive, all they're going to do, of course, is be miserable and mean and cruel because they're going to use that as a reflection on them. Me, 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 me. What about me? What about me? They're not happy. They won't be happy for you. They can't be usually. Usually they have so many habits and patterns that are so self-destructive. There's no way in the world they're going to be able to turn that off and kind of really honestly be open and interested and authentic with you and be like, I'm really happy for you. Because they're not able to. Because they're not happy at all. So count all of the people who are not happy for you, quote unquote, but also are not happy themselves. And mark them off the list of people that you claim no one's happy for you because they can't be happy for anyone. So you can't argue that they're not happy for you. They're not happy for themselves. So move them off the list. That may actually have been everybody that you were complaining about. Your in-laws, that one friend that drives you crazy, the mean person at your office who is kind of a bully, that other neighbor that is always growling and making weird faces and stuff and mean. Look, if they're not happy, they're not going to be happy for you. So they cannot fit what you want them to do. You want them to be happy for you. It's impossible in many instances because they're not happy at all. They don't have any happiness at all to pull out for themselves, much less for anybody else. You got to find people who have happiness around somewhere that they can pull out and then share with you and authentically mean it. Who's that going to be? Oh, it's what we talked about at the very beginning of the show. I said, hold on to those memories of that good thing, of that awesome thing, including whatever it is that we're talking about in this show, right? And you're going to need it, I said, as a reservoir to pull from. That's where people who are not miserable and focused on spreading misery and pain, whether it's the martyr or it's the bully, it doesn't matter, the method. The people who have some happiness to share with you and to be really happy for your wonderful thing that's happened, have happiness they can pull out of their own internal reserves. It could be something that happened 20 years ago. It could be something that happened 2 minutes ago. And that's where they're going to get that. So that they can honestly stop, interact, be in the moment with you, understand how much this meant to you, feel it, and then authentically connect with you and communicate with you that, yeah, they're feeling it too. That's a small number of people in some instances. You got to broaden your interaction with people to include more people who have the happiness. They're not happy all the time. They're not running around grinning and don't be unrealistic. I'm just saying, how do they treat themselves? Do they seem like they like themselves? They seem kind to themselves, or are they spreading misery and pain? Woe is me. I'm a victim. I'm a martyr, or oh, they're bullies. I mean, this isn't difficult to discern. It's just difficult to apply because people have unrealistic expectations and think you're going to get somebody who doesn't have any happiness at all, and then they're going to magically conjure some up and then spread it your way because something awesome happened in your mind. That's not happening. If they don't have any happiness inside for themselves, they're not going to they don't have any. It's not in there. It's like I don't have any money. I can go in my bag all day long or my wallet, put my hand in there. I'm not coming out with money. I don't have any. So stop asking me for it. It's the same thing with the happy thing. They can't be happy for you because they're not happy. Now, after they address that or change that or get themselves to a place where they start making better choices, I talk about it in the Joyful Art of Business all the time, right? They're going to have some happiness and they can pull a little bit of that out. And then they will be happy for you. But don't, this fixation with other people starts with you. You said it was awesome. Nobody else necessarily agreed with that. You said that. So I told you to go in there and feel that joy, that energy, the excitement, the happiness. And I said, hold it and save it, be able to go back and reflect on it, pull from it because you need it. Other people, you have one person at least. We already all can agree that's you. You're happy for you. Now, I guarantee you, with that healthiness, the kindness, respect for others, and being of service to other people, as you expand your interaction with people, you will make conscious choices to find other people similarly inclined, right, to treat themselves well and then have the ability to treat other people well. That's going to open up the potential and a probability, and over time, if you really dedicate your resources to this, well, yeah, you're going to be able to add people. Now you're going to be able to magically conjure up your perfect ideal family and your perfect ideal spouse and your perfect ideal boss and your perfect ideal customer and all this kind of stuff. No. And that's another version of that game, all the stuff I don't have, which is another method for people who are just dedicated to misery and pain. You're not that person. You're focused on something awesome happen. That alone, the ability to articulate that you felt awesome, that you felt excited, that you felt happy, that you felt good. That alone is something that the people who don't have the happiness, they can't even do that, right? So we talked about at the beginning of the show. And you have at least one person that is genuinely happy for you. And you're going to go out and you're going to keep making really good choices of the time that you invest in others. And you're going to find, create, and develop these relationships where you're going to have other people that are like you, they have a little happiness inside to pull out and share. And the other thing is, I want you to leave this episode and I want you to go out in your life and I want you to mark down the next time that you're genuinely happy for somebody else. Because again, to have a friend, I have to be a friend. If I claim nobody else is happy for me, well, how many people am I happy for? What have you done to show other people how happy you are for them? What do you do to tell somebody, hey, congratulations, and mean it? Where you're not, oh, congratulations. People can hear it in your tone of voice. They can see it in your facial expression when you're really jealous or mean or you don't mean it. And it's surprising how few people are able to say to somebody else, I'm happy for you, that's good, and mean it. Because they went and pulled their own little happiness memory or reserve or feeling and then went from there. But that's not the majority of everybody in the world. So you got to work in front of you. You need to get out there yourself and you need to show other people you're happy for them, right? And you need to make choices based on data and experiences that you've been able to learn from about who you're going to expect to be able to share happiness with. It has to be people that have happiness. And the last thing, as I said earlier, congratulations! I'm happy for you. I don't even necessarily know exactly what it is. Reach out and tell me. When I say go to CourtneyAnderson.com and I say, join in, part of it is because, of course, we have to continue to have the viability of what we're doing with the show and everything else. But the other thing is, I love hearing from people and about what's happening in people's lives. With my students, with people I've met at speaking engagements, with my clients, people I've worked for, or were a student or a client or attendee at a speech, 15 years ago. I want to know what's happening. I love that. And I really am excited for other people. I really am. I'm often inspired by other people, and I'll think to myself, wow, that reminds me I need to get focused in on that, my own, whatever. Get out there and do some more positive for myself and others. But I mean, there are people who really do, care. If you care for yourself and you care for other people, you're of service, you get a little bit of happiness in there, you can pull out of your happiness reservoir, then yeah, it makes life easier. So those are your homework assignments. Get out there, be happy, show other people you're happy for them. If you say if you want to have a party, and not a pity party, but a celebration happy party, maybe it's just you. Dance around like I do. Sometimes it's me by myself. Just dancing around and singing off key. I don't care. I am happy. I'm celebrating whatever it is. Maybe I'm with my pets, or, maybe I'm just by myself in a hotel room because I travel a lot, right? That's okay. I'm still here. I'm still celebrating. And let's keep moving forward, surpassing our goals. Thanks again for joining me.